Hey guys, Miles here and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing something a little different. Okay, actually a lot different because I'm actually going to be jumping on the bandwagon of a fandom that has recently blown up. And when I say blown up, I am not exaggerating. If you've seen the name of the video, then you obviously have a little bit of an idea what I'm talking about, but if you have missed that somehow, I am talking about the Amazing Digital Circus. The pilot episode has only been out for 4 weeks and already has over 1 million views, if you can believe that. So yes, it's come to my attention, and I thought about doing something kind of cool on this channel here to sort of celebrate its success. For a little background information, if you are interested in watching the pilot episode of the Amazing Digital Circus, you can go to Glitch's YouTube page and everything will be there. They are a small indie team that worked alongside Gooseworks to bring this absolutely amazing 25-minute episode to life. If you don't know what this video is about, or you haven't watched the first episode of the Amazing Digital Circus, then I encourage you to head on over to Glitch's channel right now and do that before you go any further. And maybe check out some of the merch. It's super cute. So I'm gonna be presumptuous and say that I think Jax is among one of the most beloved characters so far. And when I watched the pilot of the Amazing Digital Circus, I could definitely see why. As an artist, my mind immediately wanted to draw his character, but his character is rather simple, as most of the characters are, inside this digital world. So I decided to do what I do best and turn him into a human. Or something like it. See, I didn't want to do just what he might look like outside of the Amazing Digital Circus's world. I wanted to include some of his original elements, and I wanted to include elements of the character that he embodies inside the game. So I took the path of least resistance and made him into an anime guy. I was like way super excited to start this project, so moments after I came up with the idea, I literally sat down and just started sketching. Which honestly in hindsight might have been a poor design choice on my part, but more about that later. I originally came up with 2 designs, both which included more clothing than the character actually wears in the show, because I didn't really know what to do design-wise with what he was wearing, and I knew I had to spice it up a little bit because it's a bit lackluster, especially for a character that's being turned into a human, or something like that. Both of my original designs included undershirts because I knew I needed to have something there in the space to cover up the rest of his physique. And then I got a little bit excited and I added a tie to one, and then I changed up the trousers on the other, and I wasn't really sure what I was going with. But never to be daunted by indecision, I went right ahead and started fleshing out line work for his body and for his head and his face. I gave him a stunning physique, if I do say so myself, and a smile that sort of emulates the one that he wears very often in the show. Then I worked on some cynical eyes and a posture for his raised hand. His hair was actually a lot of fun to draw because I really didn't know what it should look like, so I kind of just threw whatever I wanted out there, and when I thought that it looked good, I finished with that. Then I added some ears and I started having FNAF flashbacks. By the way, movie, you should probably see it if you haven't already. Okay, sorry, tangent. Anyway, once I added these ears, I knew that I was gonna have to very quickly put other details in place because he looked very similar to some of the human-style designs of some of the FNAF characters. So I moved on to what was probably the second most important part of his design other than his facial expression, which to me was his outfit, which I still hadn't really decided on. And it definitely showed. As soon as I got this kind of worked out, I looked at it and I was like, I really don't like the way that looks. And so instead of working on it any longer, I decided to jump to another part of the design, which was the gloves that he was supposed to be wearing. And yeah, I did not like the way that they looked, and I decided to scratch that idea as well. Now bear in mind it was probably about 3 a.m. when I finished working on this because inspiration had all but died. And I looked at what I had put down and I was like, ooh, I really don't like this. I'm going to bed. And so I did. And I slept on this because I really wasn't sure what I didn't like, and the answer that was coming back to me at that point was like, I don't like any of it, which I knew wasn't true. I knew there were portions that I had liked that I liked the way that they looked, but after you work on something for so long, sometimes it becomes tainted. And it became tainted to me. So again, slept on it, woke up the next day and went, I want to scrap everything. But I didn't. No, I didn't scrap everything because I realized his hair looks good, I like his eyes, I like the ears, I just don't like his outfit, and I definitely don't like him wearing gloves. So I went back to the drawing board, way back to the beginning, to his outfit, and said, okay, this is not working. Now don't get me wrong, I like the way the outfit looked, just when he wasn't wearing it. Together, they just didn't match up. I wanted to be able to show off his physique a little bit, but I also didn't want to have him literally naked for no reason. I tried a few sketches with the dress shirt underneath, and I didn't like those even more than I didn't like what I had created before. So I went back and I asked my imagination, what can I possibly do with this if he's not going to be wearing a bunch of clothes? And I came up with this idea. What would Jax look like if he was partially abstracted? Now, if you haven't watched all the way through the pilot, I warned you at the beginning of this entire video that that's what you should do first. So if I just spoiled something for you, it's not my fault. And no, you haven't missed anything. Jax doesn't abstract. But I thought it would be cool to kind of fast forward in time and give a visual representation of what that might look like. Or maybe if he's already figured out, like most fans have considered, if abstraction is actually the way out of the world. And maybe he's holding that secret from the rest of the cast because, well, he's Jax. And I fell in love with that idea. I was so excited that I cleared my schedule and made plans to literally draw for the rest of the afternoon and then the next day. And let me tell you, I am so glad that I did. The way that I styled his clothing actually finally made sense to me, and I looked at it and I was like, yep, I officially like it. I took a small break after finally finishing the clothing and then came back to do the details and the shading and all that stuff. And then was literally the most fun part of the project, making these abstracted pieces and eyes and whatnot to put on Mr. Jax. It was tedious, yeah, creating all these eyes, but it was so much fun, and when I finally finished with them, I started putting them everywhere. Then all that was left was to add some dark abstracted pieces, a little bit of dripping black ink, I don't know what you would call that, but once it was done, it sort of looked like this. Then the only thing left for me to do was create a background. And normally, sometimes in these videos, I'll actually include that process as part of the video. But this time, I felt like it would take a long time for me to record that. And sometimes when I'm creating backgrounds, I will erase stuff, add stuff, change stuff. And I was like, they don't need to see me being even more indecisive than before. Let's just not record it. But then I kind of wish that I had, because I ended up putting down exactly what I wanted, and I thought it looked pretty cool. Anyway, here is Mr. Jax and my interpretation of what it would look like if he was partially abstracted. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you are a fan of the Amazing Digital Circus, make sure to give this video a like and consider subscribing to the channel. If this video is relatively popular, I might consider doing some of the other characters. Who knows? If you'd like to see that, make sure to leave me a comment down below. Alright guys, thank you again for watching and stay awesome. I'll see you next time. Bye!